Can you bring that counter up higher? To the straight up to the, yep, right there, perfect.
Okay, we got Sound of Music.
That's the one we're gonna lead in with?
No.
I didn't think so. Hey, that mic's on, isn't it? In here? All right. Did they ever find out anything on the people in Oak Hill?
I ain't heard nothing else about it. 5 people were killed in Oak Hill.
Children.
Children yesterday.
It was on national news, and
I'm sure.
killed 5 of his kids out of South Carolina and left them.
Out of all places. Oak Hill.
You know, they found a guy at Moe's 4 or 5 years ago up there dead. Drugged, somebody out of California come and killed him. Found him about 400 yards past the store on the highway there. They come all the way from California to hit him.
You must have done him wrong.
I would imagine. Folks, welcome to Hunting the Rut Hotline with Don Bell. You got questions, we got answers. Folks, tonight we're starting a whole new format for the hunting industry and for all 12, 14 million deer hunters in America. Tonight, we're starting a show. It's all about you. It's not high tech. It's about how to understand to be able to hunt that white-tailed deer. If you want to know how to kill him, this is the show that you want to be able to call into. And what you'll be able to do with this show, you'll be able to call in each week, 52 weeks a year, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central live. Folks, what you see is what you see. As it happens, that's the way it's going to happen. And we want to remind everyone, as you do this, that you'll be able to contact us by email. You can email us at info@rutthehotline.com. You can also Skype to us at Hunt the Rut Hotline. Facebook us at facebook.com/Top Secret Deer Scent. This show is a brand new format. We want you to sit back and relax. Hey, get on the phone, call your friend, And the way that they can hit this is to go to the Facebook. You can go to our Facebook page and hit the link to us, and it'll bring you straight live to the show. Get on the phone, call everyone. This show is all about you. So as we get ready to do this, we want everybody to feel comfortable and be able to ask questions, any kind of question you want. The show is not about high tech. We're not going to talk about what kind of bow to shoot or what gun or what ammo, but what we are going to do is talk about what makes a deer do what they do during the rut. So folks, stay tuned. We're fixing to go to a quick commercial to our sponsor, which is Top Secret Deer Scent, and when we come back, we're going to be able to start this show off.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Remind you each time, as we will do this each week, this is the way you get into us. This is a live show. It's all about you, and it's for all the hunters in the country. Get on the phone, have everybody that can call into us at 888-810-8989. That's live each week during the show. That's 888-810-8989. You see it up on the screen. And you also can email us at info@ruthehotline.com. Skype us at Hunt the Rut Hotline. And folks, Facebook us at facebook.com/Top Secret Deer Scent. Folks, okay, here's what we're going to do tonight. What we want to be able to do is to kind of frame this show. And let me tell you just a second, just a little bit about us. We're going to kind of introduce something about who I am and some background, and also kind of frame the conversation starting out tonight. By no means do we limit the conversation to this, but kind of put it in perspective. To begin with, my name is Don Bell, and I've been in the hunting industry almost 30 years. A lot of you guys know me from in the scent industry. I have actually bottled as much or more deer urine as anybody in America, and I know that's a bad thing to try to brag on. But I've actually bottled Tink 69, which many of you know. I am the inventor of Top Secret Deer Scent, hold several patents in the scent industry, and also the founder of Top Secret Deer Scent. We actually do more seminars than anyone in America. Give you an example. Last week we were in the state of Illinois. I think that was Thursday night. Saturday we were in Texas. Tomorrow night we'll be in Ohio, in Whipple, Ohio. So we do a lot of traveling, and for nearly 30 years all these seminars has been centered around how to hunt the rut. And so this show is going to be about how to understand when the rut is. And what I have found in all these years of traveling, and it really doesn't matter if I'm in the South or if I'm in the North or Midwest, most hunters misunderstand two words. One is the word rut, and the second one is the word estrus. Look, America tonight, as we sit here on this day, it is a very, America's at war. And so let's imagine if we were to wake up in the morning and we had to fight Russia. It would be real important for America to know where Russia is geographically in the world. Meaning that if we got to send troops to Russia, we don't want to accidentally send them to Japan. So we need to know geographically where to put the troops if we're going to fight another country. Secondly, if we're going to fight, say, Russia, we wouldn't fight them at our strength. We would fight Russia at its weakness, or at least we would try to do that. It's the same thing hunting the rut. In order to hunt the rut, we need to know when it is. And most hunters have a misconception on what the rut is. And listen, I'm going to tell you on the front end tonight, I'm going to say some stuff that's you're going to kind of think, well, now, look, I don't know too sure about that. Hang tight with me. Let's go through it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. First of all, the word rut. Most people, and I want you to do this tomorrow, I want you, when you go to work tomorrow, I want you to ask people, when you say the word rut, what's the first thing you picture a buck doing? You ask that question tomorrow, and I bet you 8, 9 out of 10 hunters that you hunt with, or even if you don't hunt with them, they're going to tell you that the rut, they see a buck chasing a doe. But in reality, that's not the rut. That is the peak of the rut. The rut is broken into 3 periods. You have pre, peak, and you have a post-rut. Anywhere in North America, you have a pre, early season, but it's a pre-rut. You got a peak of the rut, and you have what's called a post-rut. Kind of think of a mountain. You start at the valley, you come up, you go down. The rut is broken into 3 periods: pre, peak, post. That's very important. To understand that, most people think the rut is when a buck's chasing a doe. That's not it. Anytime a whitetail buck, and folks, this doesn't matter if it's in Florida, Manitoba, Canada, South Carolina, anytime a whitetail buck sheds his velvet, biologically, that buck is in rut and he can breed. So let's watch this. You answer this question where you're at, whatever state you're in. When season opens in your state, are the majority of the bucks in or out of velvet? That's right. If you think about that, the majority of them are out of velvet. That means if he's out of velvet, when season opens, that biologically that buck is in rut and he can breed. Now, I didn't say there was a doe in. I'm talking strictly about a whitetail buck. Anytime a buck sheds his velvet, biologically he is in rut and he can breed. Well, now that's kind of strange, isn't it? Because that kind of says, if you think about it, well, if he's in rut when season opens, well, dang, how long is that old boy in rut? Well, did you know that a whitetail buck is in rut from the time he sheds velvet all the way to the time he drops his horns or his antlers, for you guys in the north? So, ask this question. What's the last legal day you can hunt in the state you're living in? All right, you got your date? Now then ask this question. Do they still have horns? Do they still have antlers? The majority of them? Or all of them? And the answer to that should be yes. So if a whitetail buck, if he can breed from the time he sheds velvet all the way to the time that he drops his horns or his antlers, then he is in rut the entire hunting season. Now folks, that's a game changer, because if you come into this conversation tonight thinking that the rut is when a buck's chasing a doe, you're missing 2/3 of the hunting season using rut tactics. And that's what this shows, why it's called Hunting the Rut. And we're going to talk about each period and talk about where it is in Michigan, South Carolina, Indiana, because there are some nuances, but they're all in pre, peak, and post-rut. So, right off the get-go, when is the rut? The rut is the entire hunting season. So now then, you want to understand that. Let's go to the second word. That's the word estrus. If we're sitting here tonight, or let's say you're sitting wherever you're sitting and you're watching by the phone or you're on your laptop or ever how you're watching us, and you look out the window and you see a buck chasing a doe and you see her running. You say, hey, Don, look at that doe. That doe's in what? Most people are going to tell you that that doe is in estrus because the buck's chasing a doe. But she is not. Let me say that again, because I'm telling you, we'll get a lot of calls on this. Anytime you see a buck chasing a doe, that doe is not in rut. How many of you have ever seen a buck chase a doe? Answer the question there at the house. TV, video, live. You've seen a buck chase a doe. Have you ever thought about why that doe's running? The reason that doe is running is because she's coming into estrus and she's not in estrus. The word estrus literally means an animal will stand and not run. Dog, cat, elephant, giraffe, white-tailed deer. So when you see a buck chasing a doe, the reason that doe is running is because he sensed that she's coming in, and the reason she's running is she don't want to be fooled with. Now watch this. The peak of the rut, why would they call it the peak? The peak of the rut, and folks, there is a time in which where you hunt, I don't care where you hunt in this country, there is a time in which where you hunt that the majority of the does are standing versus running. That is the peak. So what you have, pre, peak, post-rut, a winding down. So the peak being when the majority of the does are no longer running and they're standing. Now then, that is the peak. So the word estrus means an animal will stand and not run. Now then, now that we understand these two words, we can kind of put it in perspective of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Because you're going to hear your fellow hunters all over the country, and as you see this tonight, you'll realize the Facebook questions, the emails, the telephone calls, the Skypes, all these people are coming in from all over the country. And there are some nuances to the questions, but all of the bucks are in one of these three stages. And so as we get ready all over the country, as everybody's hanging tree stands and getting ready, planting food plots, getting ready to hunt, these bucks are getting ready to go into these three stages. And so as we get ready to go into this question period, the next thing that you want to keep in mind is that for all of you folks out there today, it was true last week in Pittsburgh, it was true in Texas, it's going to be true tomorrow night, and those folks that is watching this up there tomorrow night where we're coming to do a seminar, you show me tomorrow night by a show of hands, you have already started seeing bucks run together. A whitetail buck is more concerned with other bucks in a 12-month period than he is with a doe. Take a wild guess when that old boy is more concerned with a doe. That's right, during the peak of the rut. So when season opens, in fact right now today, September, bucks all over the country are running together. In fact, you could have a contest on this. In fact, let's do this. Everybody that's listening to this tonight, I want you to, in fact, some of you can call in or you can Skype in and start telling us how many bucks, what's the most bucks you have seen already this year run together. That's called bachelor groups. And the reason they're in bachelor groups, they started getting together. They didn't start getting together right now. Those bucks started running together when season ended last year. So what happens is we hunters, we get together. We see all these bucks because we're in the woods getting ready to plant food plots and hanging stands, getting ready to go bow hunting. We see all this activity. We get all excited because we think, man, you go back to work the next day and you say, hey, man, look here. I saw 6 bucks start running together. Man, they're getting ready for season. Those bucks that you're seeing run together today, September the 10th, September the 11th, have been running together since the end of January, 1st of February. Their pecking order doesn't start here, it starts there. So as we fall into this understanding of pre-peak and post, the bucks have been running together all spring, and they're bringing themselves back around. And the first buck that will break out of the bachelor groups every year will be your most dominant buck. And folks, that starts bringing us into pre-rut, which we'll talk about tonight, peak of the rut, post-rut. So you'll be able to ask any kind of questions you want on this, and we encourage you to do that. Call in, Skype in. Guys, call in now, and as we come up to this, be able to ask any kind of questions you want. We want you to stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll start the next segment, folks. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, I believe we're going to have our first caller on the line, and I believe it's Kenny. So stay tuned. Come back in just a few minutes. Call your friends. Get on the phone. Say, hey, guys, link into this. Go to topsecretdeerscent.com or go to our Facebook page. Hit the link with the ad. It's a live link. Hit it. It'll bring you straight to us, and you'll be able to ask questions. And, hey, you'll be able to hear the questions and see the questions that your fellow hunters is asking all over America. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be back in just one second.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
What we're fixing to do is remind you one quick time again. You can come into us, Hunting the Rut Hotline with Don Bell. It is live. Hey, you have questions? We got answers. Let's talk tonight. Call your friends. Let's get on the phone, Facebook, Skype us in. You can call 888-810-8989. It's up on the screen. You can call us. You can email us at info@ruthotline.com. Hey, you can also Skype in, Hunt the Rut Hotline, and also Facebook us at facebook.com/Top Secret Deer Scent. Okay, folks, we're fixing to get started here, and I believe we have our first caller is going to be coming in just a second here. And I believe it is Kenny, and Kenny, I believe, is on line one. I believe, Tom, that's line one. Don Bell,
Yes, sir. How are you?
is this Kenny?
Yes, sir.
Well, Kenny, welcome to Hunting the Rut Hotline.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be calling in.
Hey, listen, Kenny, where you from?
I'm from Maynardville, Tennessee. It's about 15 minutes north of Knoxville.
North of Knoxville. You in the northeast part of the world, then. You in the hilly part.
Yes, it sure is Rocky Top.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, listen, we're glad you called in tonight, and just to kind of let you know, this is a conversation between you and I. Everybody else in the country is listening in. And most always, Kenny, your question is a question somebody else is wanting to ask. So what's your question tonight?
Well, my question is what is the reason for not allowing the oxygen to mix with your urine products? I'm interested to learn more on the process and
How it works.
dictates being able to get more deer or being a better product.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. This is all about common sense stuff, and what makes Top Secret Deer Scent totally different than anybody else in the industry is that we collect urine without oxygen. I'm gonna ask you the question, and I asked everybody else to listen to this question. Ask the question to yourself: when you open a bottle of deer urine, no matter whose company you open it, what color is it normal?
It's a darker color.
It's a darker color. And now, folks, and listen to me. This is a live conversation. I have no idea what this man's going to tell me. You just said what everybody understands, is that when you open a bottle of deer urine, or deer scent, it is dark. There's a reason for that, Kenny. Urine, when it is voided by any animal, man, white-tailed deer, dog, cat, it is sterile, which means it should be a clear yellow. Now, once it hits oxygen, it starts breaking down. And so what you have with the other scent companies, first of all, you have a blend of aged urine. So it's been collected by multiple deer over a period of time. And so what you have literally is a blend of aged urine. Dark urine says a deer was there. Clear yellow urine says the deer is there. Kenny, I want you to do something for me tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
And don't worry, nobody's listening now. Here's what I want you to do, especially if your wife. I want you to get you a clear jar. And I want you to go outside tomorrow morning, first thing, before you go to work. And I want you to urinate in it. I want you to fill a little boy full. And so there's the reason for that. When you do that, I want you to notice, and this is your urine, and all you other folks out there take this test too, you'll recognize that it's a clear yellow. Time it. Start at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock. Start watching it over the course of the day. It's going to start changing smell and color. And the only variable to that is oxygen. And so what happens is oxygen ammoniates urine. Ammonionation tells another animal how long it's been since you've been there. So if you're using dark urine, you're telling the deer, even though you just opened and poured it out, it's already ammoniated dark. It's telling that deer, yes, in fact, there was a deer there, but he's no longer there. So what we did, Top Secret has changed the scent industry. And it has elevated it to a whole new height. And it's a common sense position to be in. What we're doing is we're collecting your urine, that deer's urine, with no oxygen. So the first time you open it is the first time it hits oxygen. Therefore, when you pour it out, it's a clear yellow. It tells the deer you're there now versus you were there 3 days ago, half a day ago, a month ago. Does that make sense?
Makes a whole lot of sense. Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a common thing, Kenny, but it is a revolutionary thing. You know, you heard in the opening, I have bottled literally millions and millions of bottles of deer lure in the past nearly 30 years. And in that process, it's dark. We hold several patents in the scent industry. Top secret has changed everything. Now you literally can go in the woods and open a bottle of deer scent, and if you'll notice this bottle that I'm showing right here, what this bottle is, you can see how clear it is. It's a clear yellow. But if I opened that cap right now and closed it and left it, it's going to turn dark. It's going to turn what you're used to seeing. If you can see that on the camera there, you'll be able to tell that right here in the top of it, that's called headspace. And everybody else's product, not only is it collected with oxygen, which makes it brown, ammoniated, but it is sitting on the retail shelf with oxygen in it, which means it's still ammoniating. And of course, when you open it, the more you pour out, therefore, the darker it gets. So what we have, ours, the first time it sees oxygen is when you open it. Now, in order to open it, you need to use it. You got to use it to open it. Well, if you open it, you're putting oxygen to it. Well, that's not a good thing. So if you're looking on the screen here, we have what's called a scent saver system. What this scent saver system does is this is a 3-ounce bottle. This is a 3-ounce bottle. And so what you do is you take this bottle. Kenny, when does season come in Tennessee?
It opens September 27th.
September 27th. All right. So let's say we're going to go hunting in the morning. All right. So what you do is you take this 3-ounce bottle and you open it and you pour it in this scent saver. The scent saver is a 3-ounce bottle, and you'll be able to see this. You open it. We pour it all in there tonight, right now. We pour it in. We plug it. It's got a little plug on the top, a vacuum plug. You take the pump. You put it on top of it, and you simply pump it 2-3 times. And what you do is it takes all the oxygen out of the bottle. So now it's sitting there just like it was here. You're ready to go hunting. Tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now. We get to go hunting in the morning, you simply open it up, pull the little nipple, open it, use it. Plug it, 2-3 pumps, you're right back like you were. So, Kenny, the first time, now you can use it in between using it live, and it will still keep it fresh and yellow. So, what separates Top Secret than anybody else's is that it is oxygen-free from collection to the bottle, and it changes everything. It's a revolutionary concept in the industry, and you can get it anywhere in the country. And if your dealer doesn't have it, just tell them they can contact us, and we'll do our best to supply them with it. It's also available, Kenny, in foam. So listen, we appreciate you calling in tonight, and tell everybody about the show. And I hope we answered your question. Folks, listen, we appreciate it. And look, and I think we're fixing to go to an email question. And I believe we have Neil. Neil has asked, my question will be, how would you recommend hunting a clear cut with 4-foot scrub pines and a 40-acre private parcel with pines all around?
All righty.
Thank you. So what you've got is, Neil, here's the way you do that. First of all, you're in Michigan, and I'm assuming that this is, let's see what you're saying, clear-cut private property with pines all around. If it's a clear-cut, you want to hunt the wall of a clear-cut, any clear-cut, whether it's in the south or the north. You want to hunt if you got timber wherever your property line goes and there's a timber line around it, you want to hunt that timber line. Deer love a transition line. They love to walk that line. If you got power lines going through it, anywhere you got cuts, that's what you want to be able to do. So, folks, what we want to do now, we've got listen, I hope that answers your question. We have another email, and I believe that this is from Joey Beasley, and I believe Joey's from Chapel Hill, Tennessee. Joey's question is, I have many deer. I have used many deer scent attractants with varying degrees of success, and that's true, Joey. A lot of people have that. I used a doe estrus scent last year during the rut, but it seemed to push deer away. When I used it, I would see them in a distance, but they wouldn't come any closer. Do you find that to be common, or should I combine doe estrus with a buck scent as well? Pretty lengthy question, but let me see if I can sum that up. Joey, if you're using scent, the number one scent sold in America is estrus. Let's go back to the opening monologue. Most people think the rut is when a buck's chasing a doe. All right. Therefore, the number one scent in America sold is estrus. If they think this is the rut when a buck's chasing a doe, what they want to use is estrus. But the scent, and I tell people this and they look at me kind of crazy, but if you had to put a gun to my head and say, Don, you got one chance. In other words, you threw me up there on that 40 acres and you said, Don, you got one chance to kill a buck. You got one weekend, one chance. Which scent would you use? I would use buck urine. And the reason for it is bucks come to bucks over a longer period of time than any other time of the year. So it depends. I'm not sure with your email whether or not if you're using it during the peak of the rut. Do this. If you can, let's see here. Joey, call us at 888-810-8989 if you're listening, and let me know whether or not in that clear cut, what time of year were you doing it? Were you in October? Were you bow hunting? Are you gun hunting? Are you in the peak of the rut in there in Michigan? You know, you're looking at anywhere in the Midwest, really. You're looking at the peak of the rut being somewhere between the 1st and the 15th, and historically somewhere between the 7th and the 15th is going to be the peak of the rut in the Midwest. But call us back. Let us know whether or not you were using the estrus during the peak of the rut. What time of year were you using that? And I'll try to critique that question a little more on which way to do that. But I always use buck urine, and then I bring the estrus in during the peak of the rut. Buck urine every day of the year. Folks, you'll hear me preach this on this show. Buck urine every day of the year. Then put estrus once they start chasing the does. You never quit using buck. You simply add the estrus with it. I believe Nick from Minnesota has a question. What's the best way to distribute the scent and according to your stand location? How much of scent is needed? Two things on that. Nick, if you're bow hunting is one way, if you're rifle hunting is another. Let me show you what I'm talking about that. Where I'm sitting right now, I'm in your stand and I'm looking this way. I'm looking at the camera. So this is downwind. All right. So I want to put my scent downwind. I'm going to put my buck or my estrus downwind. And the reason for that is, and that's where I'm wanting to hang my stand. And here's why. If you get up in a tree and this is your stand, and let's say you put buck urine out. Let's say you're hunting a scrape, and you put buck urine in this scrape. And if you put your bow stand up there, the average distance of a buck, any deer being killed with a bow, is how long? How far? If I ask that question, you guys are answering it out there, aren't you? 15, 20, 30 yards. All right? So let's just say 20 yards is average. So what happens is, if this is the stand, this is the scrape, not your stand, but your scrape, and I put buck urine in it, and you get up in the stand and you put your stand 30 yards that way, and you grunt, what's going to happen is the buck's going to go downwind. He's wanting to smell what he's hearing. All right, so let's say you got buck urine in it, he confirms his ears. So if he starts coming in, because you've whipped two senses, deer's got three defenses: ears, eyes, nose. Everybody knows the most important is the nose. So watch this. Nick, this is the scrape. You get up in the tree. You've got buck urine out. You grunt. What's going to happen is, and let's say that buck's over here somewhere behind us, at least you hope he is. He hears it. What you just told him is another buck is tending a doe. Whose doe? His doe. Grunting is an infringement. Buck goes downwind. He goes downwind because he wants to fleam. He wants to smell what he's hearing. So now he's downwind. You may see him, you may not. So he's downwind. He curls. Those you got horses, you'll see it. A horse will curl the lip and he'll fleam, curl the upper lip. They have a little gland in the top palate of the mouth. Sole purpose of that bad boy is to read urine. So he's downwind, smelling. He smells the buck, so he starts in. The last defense he's got, Nick, is eyesight. Now, if you're 30 yards that way, and I come downwind this way, and I start coming in and I start slowing down, I've heard, I've smelled, and now I'm looking. And if I can't see what I'm hearing and smelling, and I lock up, now I'm 20, 30 yards this way, you're 20, 30 yards that way, you double the average bow kill. So you don't want to do that. If you're bow hunting, folks, put your stand downwind. I know you got to kill your human odor to do this. Put your stand downwind, put your scent in the scrape, or wherever you want it, hang the stand downwind from it and grunt. Now when he goes downwind, now you can reach and you can shoot him. He's right there at you if he locks up. But look, if you're gun hunting, you can reach out there like AT&T and reach him. So really, tree stand placement on gun hunting is not near as crucial as it is with all the bow hunters know. You got to be right up there on old boy. You need to understand what his habits are. So folks, listen, what we want you to do is stay tuned just a second. We're going to come back. We're going to take a quick commercial break with our sponsor, Top Secret Deer Scent, the 1/10 of 1% Club. And folks, you're going to want to pay attention to this. This is a great opportunity to get a bottle of reserve, and there's only 12,000 bottles for 12 million deer hunters, thus 1/10 of 1% Club. Folks, stay tuned. We're going to go to a break, and we come back, and we're going to take our second caller.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Get on that phone. Call everybody. Let them know, hey, this show's live. Hey, it's every Thursday night, Hunting the Rut Hotline with Don Bell. You got questions, we got answers. This show is going to be as relevant as the last question, the last call, the last email. We don't determine what we're talking about, you do. So call us at 888-810-8989, and also email us at info@rutthehotline.com, and also Skype in at Hunt the Rut Hotline, and also Facebook us at facebook.com/topsecretdeerscent.com. Alrighty, I believe we've got someone else on the phone here, and I believe it is Kyle. Guys, is that on line, which line? Line 2. Don Bell, who we got?
Hey, this is Kyle Duffy. What's going on?
Kyle, where you from, man?
Alberta, Canada.
Alberta, Canada? All right.
Yep.
You know, I never have understood why they end everything up there with A. You want a cup of coffee, A? Why do they do that up there like that?
Man, I don't know. We never understand why you guys call it Roof Rough. So
I know. Hey, listen, it's a mutual understanding, isn't it? Well, look, we appreciate you calling in. We want you to tell everybody about the show. What's your question tonight?
My question is, I saw you talking about doe ash, and
Yep.
I was wondering if it's a good idea to use it as a cover site.
I wouldn't do that, and here's why. The way to look at this is any urine is an attractant. Any animal communicates by urine. So when you use urine on you, or use urine period, first of all, you never want to put urine on you. I mean, certainly not estrus, if you understand what I'm telling you.
Yeah, no doubt.
But here's why really you don't do it. If you put urine on you, and I have had people come to consumer shows, and Kyle, they'll tell me they had a tarsal gland pinned to his hat. And I hope that old boy's not listening to that. He said, man, I climb up in that tree, and he put coon urine all over him. And he did, literally. And he said, I climbed up that tree. He said, I was a coon. Now, he thought he was covering his odor, but in fact what he was doing was he was making that animal look up. Deer do not urinate up in a tree. They urinate.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
They think
What
about it.
about,
Huh?
what about using it just on your boots?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, watch this now. Let's put it on our boot, and you trail into your stand, right? Now, are you hunting on the ground or are you hunting up in the air?
Hunting on the ground.
Oh, well, okay, now, okay, this is an exception to that then. If you're hunting on the ground, you're okay. If you're hunting on the ground, it's okay. But if you're hunting in an elevated stand, it's a no-no. Because if you trail it in on your boot and you get up in the tree, the closer I get to you, the higher in the tree that I'm smelling it. Because the closer I'm to you, the higher I'm smelling it. And behind my nose is what? My eyes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And you go, oh, Lord, I had a buck look at me. Well, I guess so. You got urine on your boot, boots on your foot, foot's in the tree. And the theory behind that with hunters is what they want to do, and it's just human nature, we're thinking that the higher we put the scent, the further it's going to go. Now, I want you to think about this. Last Thursday night, I was in Pittsburgh, and the old boy asked me, he said, hey, he said, can I pour this in snow? Well, sure. He said, well, it's going to melt. Yep. If it's a foot of snow, it's going to melt all the way to the ground. Yep. Well, how's the deer going to smell it? Well, do you not think deer urinate in snow? Deer live with their nose by urine communication and other glands 365 days a year. So what we think is that we want to elevate it. The problem with elevating it is we're making the deer look at us. And he's already hard enough to kill. And so what we want to do is to, you know, you kind of, or you born and reared in Canada?
Yeah.
All right. Probably less there than in the States. I'll get some flack on this probably. But, you know, we as hunters, society has bred out the predator in us. And if you don't believe that, we don't think it's the top of the food chain, and we should. We're the head predator. And so this whole show is geared around understanding why whitetail buck does what he does, what time of year. There are buttons he does. He's very habitual. This show's about that. So what we want to be able to do is to take the predator back into us to be able to think like he's going to do. You know, understand what makes him tick rather than just letting him come to a feeder. So once you understand that, not only can you kill a buck, but Joy, you can kill any buck. You can kill a good buck. I can kill a particular buck because I can set up on that buck. I can manipulate that buck, knowing what he's doing, what time of year it is, and I know his three defenses: ears, eyes, nose. So to answer the question, personally, I'd never put urine on me, and I'd never put it on my boots. Now,
Just strategically, eh? Cool.
if you heard the last segment, are you bow hunting or gun hunting?
I'm a gun hunter, yeah.
What time of year are you gun hunting? November?
No, it starts middle of September.
All right. Well, you're still not cold, but yeah, you know, if you're gun hunting, you can reach out to your rifle or shotgun.
Little lever action, open sights.
Okay, all right. Well, placement of the scent is the deer's still going to come downwind. And basically, in a nutshell, grunting and rattling does nothing but puts the deer downwind. The reason he's going downwind, he's wanting to smell what he's hearing. Thus the reason buck urine.
Yeah.
Every time you go in the woods, take you some buck urine.
Okay.
Start using estrus once he starts chasing does. You haven't got to
Yeah,
quit
that's
using
right.
it. Yeah, just at that point, combine the two together. And look, if you had more questions, you know, these segments we're trying to get as many folks in this show. You guys, as you're listening to this, feel free to email us and stuff and let us know how you like the segments. but we're trying to find a good balance here. But if I didn't have time to answer all your questions, you feel free to email me and ask questions, or you can call us back. So, Kyle, we appreciate it, and appreciate you calling. Tell everybody up here in Canada to tune in.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a good show. You had a lot of good advice there. It was really good.
Hey, man, we appreciate it. Thank you for doing it. Tell somebody. And I believe,
Will
hey, thank you, sir. And I believe our next caller is Joy. And I believe, guys, he's on line 3. Line 3. Don Bell, who we got?
This is Joey Beasley. I had asked a question about pushing the deer away when using scent earlier,
Yep.
and you had asked if it was during the peak of the rut. It was when bucks were chasing does is when I noticed it, that no deer would come close to me. They stayed away from me.
All right, remind me again now, Joey, where are you from? What state?
From Chapel Hill, Tennessee.
All right, Chapel Hill, Tennessee. All right. And it was during the peak of the rut, you got bucks chasing does. And
Yes.
were you decoying or no?
No decoy.
All right, but you were using estrus.
Yes.
All right. Sometimes when you use estrus, you will spook other does. And let me tell you why that is. The same reason sometimes when you use, quote, a dominant buck urine, that you may in fact run off subordinate bucks. And the reason for that is they can tell. Let's go back to your question on using the estrus. If you've got does out there you got a doe you use estrus, meaning that the doe's in, and another doe's out there and she's starting to come in. Or if you got several does in the area that's kind of starting to come in, they're skittish and they don't want to hang around you. And the reason they don't want to hang around you, guess who's going to be hanging around you if you're in? That's right, other bucks. So what they want to do is a doe's coming in, they're trying to stay away from that activity. That's the reason they're running. So that could be the case. What kind of property are you hunting? Is it pressured?
It's not pressured at all. I'm actually the only one that hunts within about 3/4 of a mile or so, but I only have about 20 acres I can hunt of that.
Yeah, are they reluctant to come on that 20 acres? Are they coming on the 20, or are they just staying off of it?
They cross it. I mean, they don't stay around, but I'll see them crossing all the time.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know, but when a doe's coming in, she's on the move. She's on the move. And that's why bucks cross. They're out of their territory. They're out of their primary scrape. They're chasing does, and the does is what gets the bucks in trouble because they go from one house to the other, and the bucks just follow. And next thing you know, a buck's in another buck's house. So, but it sounds like to me that you may have a situation to where you got other does that's skittish that may be keeping them off. Did you have them blow at it? Was any deer didn't have any blowing?
No, they just stayed. I mean, they would stay. I would say them about 150 to 200 yards off, and then when I didn't put the scent out, they would come within 40 to 50 yards of me.
Yeah. See, sometimes that'll happen. And did you use any buck urine with it, or just estrus?
Just estrus at that time.
Okay. All right. Here's what I want you to do. Let's see, that was in eastern Tennessee. What are you? That's the peak of the rut. Were you talking about the peak of the rut? What time of year was it?
Probably right at the beginning of the peak of the rut. It just really started kicking up.
What month were you in there?
In mid-November.
Yeah. All right. Well, this year, do this for me. And listen, keep this and call me back. When I make a suggestion to you guys out there, I want you to log it in and call me back and say, hey, man, that was stupid advice. Or, hey, that worked. And so here's what I want you to do. Get you some top secret that's oxygen free. When you put it out, it's just like that old girl's there. Now, if they're running, trail buck urine in, always use buck urine. Always use buck urine. Never quit using buck urine. Every day, trail it in when you go in. But once you get in a situation, were you hunting a scrape?
There were some scrapes there, yes.
I mean, were you hunting a scrape?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it was.
All right, then perfect. Then get that buck urine, kill your human odor, trail the buck urine in, put you some buck urine in that scrape, put you some estrus in that scrape. Were you grunting?
Yes, it was grunting.
All right, now watch this. Everybody, we just talked about this a second ago. You were grunting, and bucks were staying out at a distance. When you grunt, and if you weren't using buck urine and you were using estrus, here's what we're telling a deer. That buck's behind you. You grunted. I'm the buck. I hear you. What you just told me was another buck is tending my doe. Where? In my primary scrape, which is my master bedroom. That's a territorial infringement. That's a no-no. So I circled downwind. Now, why did I circle downwind? I circled downwind because I want to smell what I think I'm hearing. What I'd better smell is Old Spice cologne. But what I smelled was my wife. Well, look, that'd be like coming home after this show tonight, and you walk in your house in your master bedroom, you flip the light, you smell Old Spice cologne, and flip the light on and see your wife. You're not looking for your wife, are you? Who are you looking for?
No.
You're looking for Old Spice. And so what you were doing, you were sending two different signals to those deer. You were there grunting. He could be out on the fringe out there, and his nose is overriding his ears. That's where that buck urine comes in. Get you some buck urine, go to the same spot, man. Go to the same spot, hunt it this year, put you some buck urine in. If it's during the peak of the rut or they're chasing, put you some estrus in it. Put that buck grunt, call me back, and let me know, and we'll let all the other hunters know how you did. So keep in contact with us. We appreciate you calling. Folks, listen. As you can see, there's variations on this. And I believe Joey was from Tennessee, and you're seeing that they're calling from Canada, they're calling from all over the country. This is Hunting the Rut Hotline. Folks, you got questions, we got answers. And so what we're fixing to do, we're fixing to take a quick 15-second break here. And when we come back, we're going to do this all over again. Folks, stay tuned, and we'll be back in just one moment.
You've worked hard all summer to get everything just right. Don't leave the rest of it to chance. Use the finest deer urine ever collected and the only one in the market that is oxygen-free. From collection to bottle. Get ready. It's time to hunt.
Remind you again that this is the Hunting the Rut Hotline with Don Bell. It's a live talk show. This is brand new to the hunting industry. This is all about you. This show is going to be as relevant as the last question. Doesn't matter where they come from, as you can tell tonight. Right out of the gate, people are calling from all over America. So you can call us at 888-810-8989. You can see it on the screen. You can email us at info@ruthotline.com. Skype us at Hunt the Rut Hotline. And listen, we always want to make sure you got a good signal when you Skype in where we don't lose you. You can Facebook us at facebook.com/topsecretdeerscent.com. And I believe the next person that is coming up, I believe is Cecil, and I believe Cecil is on line 1. Don Bell, who we got?
Cecil Zito, Mr. Don. How you doing?
Well, Cecil, how are you doing, big dog?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Well, good. And, Cecil, you're a 1/10 of 1% club member, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We appreciate that. And folks, for those that you don't realize what that is, Hunting the Rut Hotline is sponsored by Top Secret Deer Scents 1/10 of 1% club. That's the reserve. That's that $100 bottle of stuff. It's 26 ounces, literally pull the buck off of the doe, and there's only 12,000 bottles for 12 million deer hunters. And Cecil happens to be one of the lucky ones to be able to get that bottle. And Cecil, we appreciate that. And what's your question tonight?
Well, I have several.
Okay.
First one is, are the bladders refillable?
What Cecil is talking about, this is a brand new product, Cecil. In fact, what I'm fixing to show on the camera will be the first time anybody has seen this. And what this is what we call a deer bladder. And what's in this bottle, what's in this bag is 5 ounces of estrus. We have it in estrus and buck, and no oxygen. And so for the first time, you can take this and you recognize it, yes, right, like an IV drip. And what you can do is to take your little wheel. Have you gotten your product yet, Cecil?
I got my reserve. I haven't received my deer bladders yet.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some of those went out today. So you ought to be getting it. Today's what? Thursday, Monday? You ought to have it by Monday. And so, folks, what you do, this has no oxygen in it. And so the way you use it as a drip is you simply roll the wheel, and it allows it to drip as slow or as fast as you want it. This is called a deer bladder. You can drip it as fast as you want, as slow as you want to. And see, the purpose in this is to put scent out while you're there. Because if you put a drip out when you're not there, or if you use a scent, and a lot of people do, there's a lot of scent dispensers out there, puts it out there based off of the barometric pressure. That means, guess what? It's hitting oxygen, it's ammoniating, and it's telling a deer that there was a deer there, but he's not there now. What this deer bladder does, it allows you to drip it while you're there. Now, the two that you, did you order one or two?
I ordered the estrus and the buck.
Estrus and the buck. So, guys, and if you listen, of course, Cecil's a 1/10 of 1% club member, and as a club member, you get to participate in stuff, and he's got buck and estrus. All season buck, estrus during the peak of the rut. It's like that's the way to go. Now, directly to your question, these two that you've got does not refill. However, we're fixing to introduce for 2015, when I say we're fixing to introduce, I'm talking in 2 weeks, that we'll introduce what we're going to be selling next year. And yes, you will have one that will be empty, and you'll have a way to refill it. Therefore, you could take the one that you have and refill. But as the ones that
going to be available to members.
Actually, and that's another perk. This stuff is available to. In fact, the reason I know that those went out today because it went out to club members. All the other ones, club members gets product first, and so this is a brand new product, and so it went out, and club members will get it first. Yours is coming out now, but this new one that's empty, you'll actually have. Well, don't let me give it away, but you'll have a way to be able to take the urine from the 3-ounce bottle or your reserve bottle and refill that IV bottle without oxygen. Pretty neat. That's going to change stuff too, because you'll be able to use it and drip it while you're there. You can drip it as slow, or you can drip it as fast as you want to drip it. Now,
what is the advantages of dripping it fast?
Well, first of all, we can sell you some more, but yeah, you know what I mean. So, but here's the way you do it. How much scent do I use? I get asked that in every seminar I do. Rule of thumb, anywhere in America, if you can smell it good, that old boy can smell it great. Now, how much scent do I pour out? And then how long does it last? The amount of scent, how long it lasts, is dependent on temperature. Tell me again where you're located.
DeVille, Louisiana.
Louisiana. All right. Well, you in the same boat.
40 to 30 degrees.
Yeah, you in the same boat we're in. The old boy from Canada just a few minutes ago, and old boy from Michigan and Minnesota. I believe it was Indiana that we talked to. Those, it's going to last. If you and I poured scent out at the same time in Louisiana and Alabama, it's not going to last as long here because of the temperature. Let the same guy pour it out in Canada, and it's going to last longer. The hotter it is, the quicker it's going to ammoniate and go weak. The colder the temperature, the longer it's going to last, and the more pronounced it's going to be. But that's just one of the downfalls of living down here in the South. But Lord have mercy, don't we get to hunt them much longer than they do up there?
We get to hunt all we want to.
That's right. We get to hunt them. In fact, Alabama, they just extended our season. Now, granted, about 6 miles from where I live is the line. So they extended it to, I believe it's, what is it, Steve? February the
February the 10th.
February the 10th, it goes. But to answer your question, if you can smell it good, he can smell it great. So the advantage to dripping it fast is quickly this. The exception to everything I just told you is unless you got a dominant buck, meaning that he's coming in tearing the world up. He's tearing the scrapes up, but you can't see him. He's doing it at night, which means he's nocturnal, which means he's probably a pretty good buck, and he's certainly smart enough to not to come in there. Now, the exception is to put a lot of buck urine in that scrape and do it 3-4 days in a row exactly the same time. With Top Secret, each time you pour it out, it's the first time it hits oxygen. So the closer he gets to it, the fresher it is, the closer he comes to it. If you put anybody else's scent out doing what I just said, it's already ammoniated. So it doesn't matter how close he gets to it, it's still the same ammoniated smell. Top Secret, when you pour it out at the same time, at 8 o'clock every morning, if I hit it at 12 o'clock at night, and then at 10, and then at 9, and at 5 o'clock, the closer I get to it, the fresher it is, because it's the first time it hit oxygen. So, mock scrapes, same way. Except the only difference there, you want to hunt buck urine. Mock scrapes early season, archery season. And where do you put them? You put them in exactly the same spot where you saw scrapes last year. All you folks out there listening, you know that if you've killed a buck over a scrape, don't quit hunting it, for heaven's sakes. The only reason that the other big buck hadn't been doing it is the buck you just killed would kick his butt. And now that in the absence of his butt, the next big buck is going to come in. Good real estate. Goes back, good real estate, good real estate. So, but you can make a mock scrape most effective early season, archery season, but use buck urine in it. Hey, listen, Cecil, we appreciate you calling. Tell everybody about it, and tell everybody about the show. We appreciate you calling in.
Okay.
Guys, listen, we want to remind everybody is that what Cecil is, Cecil's a 1/10 of 1% club member. And what that means is literally if you buy a bottle of reserve, and I want you to notice on the screen right here, you can actually go down to the bottom of the screen. It's got a button. And folks, you can hit that button, and right now it will take you to the website, to the club page in order to buy a bottle of reserve. The only way you can be a reserve member is to hit that button, go to it, purchase a bottle, you become a 1/10 of 1% club member. Get to participate in new product development. We have webinars just for you. You are able to guarantees you that you're going to get that bottle again next year. It's sort of like buying season tickets for Cecil at LSU or here in Alabama at Alabama. So nobody can take it away unless you give it away. You have till I believe Thomas March 31st that they have to where if you buy it now, like Cecil, he's guaranteed so long as he places his order again next year by March 31st, he's got another bottle of reserve. Nobody can take it away from him. So folks, stay tuned. Wait a minute. I believe we got another caller, and I believe it looks like his name is Floyd. Is that line 2, Tom? Line 2. All right. Don Bell, who we got?
Yes, Floyd.
Floyd.
Yes, sir.
Floyd, where are you from?
I'm from By God, West Virginia.
Yeah, by God, West Virginia. Don't tell me you never heard of it. Hey, how do you? Is it Floyd? Seriously, Floyd?
Yeah,
My-
I see it.
My father's name was Floyd. Actually, Floyd Abernathy Bell.
I don't know about the Abernathy part, but I like the Floyd.
All right. What part of West Virginia are you from?
I'm right outside of Charleston.
All right. Well, what's your question tonight?
Well, I just want to, I want to kill a big buck like anybody else. But my main thing is just getting some meat on the table.
All right.
And I like the early season bow hunt. And I use a grunt. But I can't get nothing to come close enough to me. I mean, I grunt. I don't see them. I can hear them.
Well,
They just don't come on in.
well, you're grunting and you're bow hunting, so it don't really make any difference to you if you kill a young buck or a big buck. You putting meat. You can't eat the antlers, so you putting it in the freezer. That's the way I grew up, and so my dad had a 5th, 6th grade education, and he'd tear your butt up if you shot a deer more than one time. Yeah. And listen, you're probably old enough to remember that. He'd take him 410 shells. Back then the 410 didn't have nothing but bird shot. He'd take him number 1 paper hull. You remember paper hull?
Yeah.
He'd unpop them and he'd make us a homemade buckshot, and we had to shoot that. And he'd tear your butt up if you shot him more than once. But here's what you're in Charleston. That's the capital, right?
Right, just
All right.
outside of Charles.
And of course, everything hilly. And you're bow hunting.
Yeah,
You're grunting and you're not seeing deer.
right.
Get you some buck urine.
Look here.
Listen, you guys, you're going to hear me preach this on this show. Buck urine. Estrus is absolutely death. It's a given. Estrus by estrus, but estrus is during the peak of the rut. Outside of the peak, use buck urine. It's deadly. So in your case, you're grunting, you're whipping his ears. So if it's pre-rut, when you grunt, what's happening is bucks are still in bachelor groups. So as they break out and as you grunt, that buck goes downwind. He's smelling. He can't confirm what he's hearing. Floyd, in a nutshell, all grunting and rattling does is puts a deer downwind. That's it. Think about it. When you grunt,
Makes sense.
you're telling him another buck's tending a doe. Whose doe? That'd be his doe. So he goes downwind. The reason he's going downwind is because you're hunting his scrape, which is his bedroom. So he goes downwind. He's going downwind to fleeing. That's that gland. And look, we're going to dedicate some of these shows to nothing but all the glands on a deer. And some of them are pretty stinking fascinating. But the most important is that nose. This year, Floyd, when you kill your buck, anybody, you kill your buck, open his mouth. And the whole top of the inside palate of that buck's mouth is like pinhole. But there's a little diamond-shaped gland in the very front top of the palate. Sole purpose that bad boy is read urine. So when you grunt, he goes downwind. And what he's wanting to do is to stay alive. You can whip his ears by grunting. You can whip his ears by rattling. His nose keeps him alive, so he goes downwind. Well, it worked. But your problem is you're not seeing them. So if you don't have buck urine out, then his nose is overriding his ears, and you're looking at that piece of plastic thinking, I paid $15 for this grunt call, and I bet your old dealer said, hey, look, buy this, and you're a grown man. If you go up in the tree and grunt like a pig, you'll see you a deer. You got to put buck urine.
Right.
You got to put buck urine with it. Then it confirms his ears, then he comes in. Okay? But even with that, he's got one more defense, that's his eyes. So once you get that good shot, because once he starts coming in, you'll start seeing him. He'll start looking, because he's looking for what he's heard and he's smelled. So get you some buck urine this year and grunt. Do you rattle?
I do, yeah.
Oh.
That's the reason why I don't understand, because I'm grunting and I'm rattling, but like I say, I can hear them grunt.
Yep.
But they just don't come in close enough.
Do you get glimpses of them? Or you hear them, or they're not coming in?
I can hear the grunt, and I can see the tracks later on, when I go back. But they're like 30, 40 yards out from me.
Yeah.
And it's pretty thick sometimes where I'm at. So, and I'm hunting a trail,
Yeah. Well, get you some buck urine. Kill your human odor. Go in. Put that scent downwind from your stand. Excuse me. Put your scent at the scrape. Put your stand downwind to where the deer hooks and comes downwind to where he's close enough for you to get a shot at him. Because when he hooks and quarters the wind, he's going to be downwind. Now, I know that's tough up there in, by God, West Virginia, where everything, there ain't no such thing as flat property. but he's still, to his best of his ability, he's going to try to go downwind. So get you some buck urine. And folks, listen, as everybody's calling in, and Floyd no exception, try this, get back to us, comment on Facebook, email us. Let these people know out there, your fellow hunters, the advice that we're giving you is working for you, hey, or if it's not working for you. And this show will be as relevant as your last question. Floyd, hey, we appreciate it. Kill your big old buck and send us a picture of it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Floyd. Folks, listen, we're going to take a quick break in just one moment, and we come back, we're going to try to wrap this thing up with some closing remarks. So, folks, stay tuned in just 1 second, and we'll be right back.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
To close this thing out, right out of the get-go, opening of the gate, want to remind you again, tell everybody, call your friends, tell them to hit the link. This is the way you come to us every Thursday night, 7 p.m., 1 hour live. We're answering your questions. You can go to call us live at 888-810-8989. You see it on the screen there. You can email us at info@ruthotline.com. Skype us, and make sure you got a good signal at Hunt the Rut Hotline. And, of course, Facebook us. And, boy, you're burning that Facebook up out there, and we want you to. Facebook us at .com/top secret deer scent. So, folks, listen, we want to take this time tonight to kind of give us a wrap-up of what we've done here. This show, again, is about hunting the rut. You got questions, we got answers. It is designed to be a conversation between myself and you. All it is the rest of the America's listening in on it. This thing can be as big and as relevant as you want it to be. So we encourage you to get on the phone tomorrow. Say, hey, did you listen? And by the way, as soon as this show's over, this show will be uploaded to YouTube, the entire show in its entirety. So you can tell all your friends, hey, if you didn't get to see it, go to the YouTube Top Secret Deer Scent channel, and you'll be able to see this entire show in its entirety, and your friends can get an idea. So next week, you'll be able to tune in. Folks, listen, we're excited about this show. We want you to be. Tell all your friends. Next Thursday night, join us. Tell everybody to join us, and we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Central Time for 1 hour. Hunting the Rut with Hotline with Don Bell. You got questions, and we're going to have some answers. Let's talk, and we'll see you next week.